Hey, everybody. Today, we're going to talk about 5 things I recommend that you keep in mind on your fitness journey. Number 1, focus on consistency before intensity. Most of the products that I see in the fitness industry currently are focused on high intensity, max effort. I think it's because it's exciting, it's sexy, and it gets your attention very quickly. But I want you to think about this. Results take time. And when you focus on going as hard and as fast as possible from the get-go, you put yourself at a risk of 2 things: an increased risk of injury and a higher chance of burnout. Let's talk about why I think it puts you at a heightened risk of injury. If you are jumping into something new, a new style of training, and you try and do it to the highest intensity possible, there's a good chance that you're going to go beyond what your body can currently handle. And that's where you start to see someone strain something, pull something, or just generally feel not good, way too sore the next day. And so it starts to become a thing of dread. You just don't look forward to going into those training sessions. It's high stress physically. Mentally, I think it puts you at an increased risk of burnout. If this is a thing that you go into just expecting to get crushed, you're probably not going to like it for very long. A lot of people think that if they go into something hardcore, like a boot camp style workout, that it will put them in a new mindset and that it will set them up for long-term success. I am not a fan of that. I personally have been through actual military boot camp, and I can tell you that real boot camp does not last. And if it were to continue for longer than what it typically is, which is a few months, if you were to try to train that way for years, no one would like it. It's not fun. It's never designed to be fun. It's not designed to be sustainable. So focus on starting easy. All the clients I work with, regardless of experience level, we always start with something that is easy for them just to get the ball rolling, to get them comfortable with a new routine or possibly a new style of training if this is something that they're not accustomed to. And we try and focus on showing up consistently and doing things that are low stakes, so they start to actually have fun with the process overall instead of making it a high stakes, high stress situation. So that's number 1, focus on consistency before intensity. Number 2 is doing something is better than doing nothing. You want to avoid the all or nothing mentality. It can be pretty easy to get sucked into the mindset that if I don't have the perfect workout setup, if I don't have this perfect amount of time or this perfect gym or equipment set up, or I don't have the perfect state of mind, maybe I feel a little more tired today than I usually do. If I don't have all of these things lined up, I'm not even going to work out at all today. And that to me is a huge lost opportunity, because you want to focus on making this a habit for the long term. Because going back to our first topic, these things take time. A long time. So habits are a much more effective thing to focus on versus perfection. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. That's not something I came up with. I forget who first mentioned that, but it's something to keep in mind. Perfection and being overly focused on perfection can really block you from doing something that is good enough for now. So also keep in mind that small wins do add up over time. Even if you show up for a subpar, I put that in air quotes, subpar workout. So maybe you can't make an hour workout, so you only do a half hour. Instead of getting disappointed in yourself, focus on the fact that you still showed up for that week. So again, doing something is better than doing nothing. Number 3, thou shalt not starve thyself. The fitness industry really promotes, in a lot of spaces, under eating. I never expected to see this when I first became a trainer and a coach in the fitness industry. I didn't expect to see that people would be largely skipping meals or missing certain things that really need to be present for them to maintain a healthy lifestyle. But it is common. So think of food not just as a calories in, calories out thing. I think that does a disservice to all of the amazing things that food has to offer. Realize that food is a mix of things, and it includes its recovery. It's a huge piece of health, and it's a huge piece of well-being, both physically and mentally. It's a cultural thing. Food is used at times of celebration. Different cultures have different ways of approaching food. And so when you only look at it as this numbers thing or a thing that you put on a scale, I think it really cuts down on just the amazing qualities that food has to offer, both physically and emotionally, mentally, all of these great things. So diets do not work. I never recommend someone go on a restrictive diet. make sure you're eating enough first and foremost before you worry about what ingredients am I putting in where and how am I spreading this out throughout my day. So don't starve yourself, avoid crash diets, focus on eating enough. Number 4, there is no quick fix. And anyone who promotes a quick fix is probably trying to sell you something, and it's probably garbage. Our culture, especially here in the United States, rewards short-term everything. Short-term profits, short-term solutions. I could go on about this. The fitness industry is no different. You'll see things like 6-minute abs or 4-minute abs. You could go all the way down this rabbit hole, or do this quick 6-week challenge or 8-week challenge or 4-week challenge. And they use it as a way to pull people in the door. But because there's so much focus on trying to show and demonstrate results in the short term, they don't really teach anything that you could stick with for a long time. So they end up promoting things that are miserable, possibly dangerous, and they don't really change the way you go about your normal routine in a way that you could realistically stick with for a long time. So I would say avoid any quick fix schemes that you see out there that seem very flashy or exciting. That to me is a red flag. If something looks very exciting or too good to be true, as the old expression goes, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And last but not least for today, more is not necessarily better. There is a sweet spot for the effective dose of exercise that we can give people. That's going to vary from person to person depending on your experience level and what your background is and what you're training for. But you want to think of it as a sweet spot, like a U or a bell curve, where there's a general balance in the middle. There's a sweet spot. Think of the Goldilocks principle, not too hot, not too cold, but just right. That's what you want to find for you. On one side, if you do not enough, you won't be getting enough of a stimulus to your body where it starts to get stronger, get faster, all those great things that most people associate with the benefits of exercise. But at the same time, if you go too much on the other end, if you're obsessively thinking about exercise, spending way too much time in the gym, getting a lot of chronic injuries, having trouble sleeping, it's blocking a lot of the relationship things that you could also be focusing on in your life, your friendships, your family. That's another thing to take into account as well. So we want to find what someone else in the industry who I follow as well promotes as the minimum effective dose. Michael Boyle is a coach in the industry who talks about this quite a bit. And what they're saying is we want to do as little as necessary, not as little as possible, but as little as necessary to get the results that we want. So find that sweet spot, not too hot, not too cold, just right. You may have to play with this in terms of your training, but think of this like a balancing act. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Also, if there's anything else that you would like me to discuss that I touched on or did not discuss today, also let me know. I hope this was helpful today. Again, thank you.